So I was looking at a video on Infowars.com by Greg Reese, and he was in Moscow, and he was interviewing a few individuals, Russians, and he asked the question, what do you think about America, etc. And the conversation landed into some kind of a social conservatism, which is pretty popular politically in Russia. It's sort of a socially conservative, kind of like a Solzhenitsyn, type of ideology. But that aside, obviously you can't talk about U.S. and Russian relations without talking about the situation in Ukraine. My take on it is a little bit different. Americans do not have an interest in Ukraine. Okay, there is nothing in Ukraine that's worth, and Americans, by the way, there are Americans operating in Ukraine right now. There are NATO soldiers operating in Ukraine. Obviously, we have a lot of money and weapons that are going over there, which makes the military-industrial complex very wealthy and makes corrupt individuals in Ukraine also wealthy at the expense of destroying a country, destroying Ukraine. Ukraine, in terms of its economy and its population, is being hollowed out right now because of a stupid policy in Washington, D.C., a policy that does not benefit the world. It certainly doesn't benefit Ukraine, and it does not benefit the United States. It does not benefit the people of any country. It is a policy meant to slow Russia down, I guess, right? In the process of killing hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians. And to do what? Supposedly stop the most dangerous country in the world. That on the one hand, they have you, like the propaganda would have you believe that Russia is the most dangerous country in the world, and yet this Ukrainian army is beating the crap out of them, so to speak. So the American people may be ignorant, but they're not retarded, and a lot of people at this point have seen through this. It's obviously a load of hogwash, and it's bad policy. It really goes against the interests of the American people. Remember, Ukraine is a more authoritarian and a more corrupt country than Russia is. Russia is by no means perfect, but there's no reason to have a war against Russia. What has Russia done to the United States? Supposedly influenced the 2016 election. Really? They bought some Facebook ads, and this is the reason why the far left hates Russia, because of some Facebook ads. Come on, get real. This policy needs to end. There's no reason for the United States to be involved in Ukraine whatsoever. In fact, we probably shouldn't even be involved in NATO. What's NATO? It was a military alliance against the Warsaw Pact during the Cold War. Well, the Cold War is over. Okay, you got European countries in Eastern Europe, Western Europe, whatever. They're all squabbling, amongst each other, based on policy, right? And the United States, the only reason why there's even a European Union is because the United States comes in and says, puts everybody on the same side militarily. Well, this is a bunch of hogwash, and the Europeans are beginning to wake up. That's why you're seeing political changes in France, for example. So, these people in Washington, D.C. are out of their minds. They certainly don't represent the American people.